Hey everyone, this is Trig Day 2. So I still have the notes up for Trig Day 1 because what we're going to learn today is our inverse trig relations, which this is going to be a little new for you guys. So our inverse trig relations are secant, cosecant, and cotangent. So we have secant, cosecant, and then cotangent, which is COT. So each of these go along with one of our regular trig functions. It's just they are the inverse, which means they are the opposite. So remember, when we have inverse, we switch the x and y. For our inverse trig functions, we are actually doing the flip of the fraction. So secant goes along with cosine. Cosecant goes along with sine, and then cotangent obviously goes along with tangent, okay? So we switch between the two and we just flip the fraction, okay? So I'm using the same triangles as yesterday. So we've already found all the information that we need, okay? So now to find secant, cosecant, and cotangent, we're just looking at our normal trig functions and we are flipping the fraction. So sine goes with cosecant. So we're going to do cosecant of theta equals, and then I just take 3/5 and I flip it, and it's 5/3. For cosine, cosine goes along with secant. So I write secant of theta equals, and then I flip my fraction. I've got 5/4. Tangent goes along with cotangent. So cotangent of theta equals, and I flip it, and I've got 4/3. So it's as simple as that. You just have to remember which one goes with which. So the easiest way to remember that is tangent and cotangent. Those obviously go together. You've got the word co and tangent, so they go together. With the secant and cosecant, they're kind of opposite of what you would think. So the s's do not go together. It's one s with one c. So you know sine, so sine goes with cosecant because an s goes with a c. Cosine, I know that one. Cosine goes with secant because an s with a c. Okay, so that's the easiest way to remember. And then these are just super simple. Once you remember which one goes with which, you're just taking the fraction and you're flipping it. You don't necessarily need to find these three to begin with. I could just look at the triangle and say, okay, I know that cosecant is the opposite of sine. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, so that means that cosecant has to be the hypotenuse over the opposite. So I can go 5/3, which is what I got right here. Okay, so you can either find the original three and then flip them, or you can go right from the triangle and just go opposite of what it would be. So for number 2, we're doing the same thing again. So sine goes with cosecant. And then I just flip the fraction and I get 17/15. And then for cosine, cosine goes with secant. So secant equals 17/8. Tangent goes with cotangent. Cotangent is equal to 8/15. And we're done with that question. Okay, so again, super easy. Sometimes I'll give you a triangle and just ask you for these three. So you need to do the Pythagorean theorem again. But once you find all this information, going from sine to cosecant is just as easy as flipping the fraction. Okay. So sometimes you'll have to do the steps from day 1 and day 2 together, but finding the inverse trig functions is not difficult. Okay, so for question number 3, we've got sine. So sine goes with cosecant of theta, which is 25/15. Cosine goes with secant. So secant is equal to 25/20. And then cotangent is equal to 20/15. And that's it. You're just finding those, I'm sorry, they're called reciprocal trig functions, not inverse. So they are reciprocal because reciprocal means you are flipping the fraction, okay? So our reciprocal trig functions are secant, cosecant, cotangent. Remember, the s goes with the c. So sine goes with cosecant, cosine goes with secant, and then tangent with cotangent. Okay, so check out your homework for day 2.